Hey! Today I'm going to show you how I created the video you're watching right now. The animation you're watching is a mix of three different AI animation applications. Motorica Web for the lower body and therefore for locomotion. QuickMagic for the upper body, so for the movement of my arms, for example, and Live Lean Face for facial animations. Look how Motorica works. I can sprint, turn, and stop like that. Fantastic! Now with QuickMagic I can catch this rock and throw it away. Then with Motorica I can start walking again. Look at that number! And with QuickMagic I can move my arms like an Italian would do while speaking. And of course I can speak and move my head properly using Live Lean Face throughout the animation. Okay, we are ready to go! Let's start with Motorica's locomotion animation. As I explained in the previous tutorial, linked in the top right and in the description, we need to create a level sequencer where we'll insert the locomotion animation into our world. Keep in mind that the maximum duration for each Motorica animation is 10 seconds at 30 fps, so from frame 0 to frame 300. In the previous tutorial I used a trick. I used an idle animation at the end of each locomotion animation. Today I'll show you how to create a walking animation longer than 10 seconds. Once we've found the correct distance on the x-axis at frame 300, in this case it's 1055, plus 216 or 1315. Now divide this number by 2, we get 657. Let's set the end of the timeline at frame 451, which is exactly half of the next 300 frames. The playback end marker must be positioned one frame after the last frame of the playhead. For example, 301 if the animation ends at 300. Or 451 if the animation ends at frame 415. Here we have to set the X value to 657 plus 1055, which is the value of the X at frame 300. And so let's write 1712 for the X position at frame 415. Now go back to frame 301 and set the end of the timeline. We have to delete all the keyframes here. You might be wondering why I did all this. Well, if we left the last keyframe at 300, the character will stop. Instead, we need to make sure it continues walking linearly in the next animation. The concept is simple. Of course, we have to set the key interpolation to linear. We are ready to export the FBX for Motorica Studio Web. To fully understand the workflow, you can watch the previous Motorica Studio Web tutorial. So let's create an additive transform track and set at 19 degrees the roll rotation value. Next, right-click on the skeletal mesh and choose Export. Select Map Skeletal Mesh to Root and click Export. Then import the FBX into Motorica Studio. Choose the desired style. And very importantly, select the loop option and lock the seed. Then click Animate. This way we can match the different animations better. Let's download the FBX and import it into the project. Of course, you'll need the latest Motorica skeletal mesh. Retarget the animation to the MetaHuman skeletal mesh. Once that's done, we're ready for the second locomotion animation. At frame 0, the x-axis is 1055, which is the x-axis value from the previous animation, and at frame 300 I set an x-axis value of 2371, which is exactly 1055 plus 1712, the same distance on the x-axis that our character traveled in the 300 frames of the previous animation. But we don't want the character stop at frame 300. So we go to frame 451 and add the magic number of 656 to 2372 on the x-axis, since we know that's half the exact distance in the first 300 frames. And one more time, go back to frame 300 and delete all the keyframes. Now we are ready to export the second animation too. Regarding the third animation, since I want the character to stop, we don't need to add additional keyframes. So just put at frame 0 the same x-axis value of the frame 300 of the latter animation. And it's done. For the fourth animation, I've just made an idle animation keeping the character in the same position for 10 seconds. I reuse this animation forward, as you will see. In the last two animations, I do more particular activities like running, turning and walking backwards. Once you have all the animations, retarget all of them. This is the first draft of the short. As you can see, I combined all the locomotion animations we created. I decided to use this part to show you how we can adjust the feet in a very complex situation. There is a very irregular floor, with different stones and different heights and inclinations. The character also must climb and descend stairs. The rule is always the same. Understand the techniques in difficult situations to be able to work in best way possible in any situation. So let's start adjusting the feet. Create a control rig track and its relative additive track. Then you just need to fix the feet position and rotation on the stone floor. For the stairs, you have to play also with the body offset and the body controls. In this way, Finally, let's see how QuickMagic works. I've recorded a video for the upper body animation. To synchronize all, I played the animation on my PC. After that, in Adobe Premiere, I deleted all the useless parts. Export the video. Go to QuickMagic.ai. From my perspective, QuickMagic is the best way to make AI motion capture animations without spending a lot of money. As you can see, the prices are very interesting. You can start testing it for free, and then you can purchase one of the two plans that entitle you to a certain number of V coins. Keep in mind that 1 second of video is worth more or less 1 V coin. Open the AI mockup page and upload the video. Once done, I select the Unreal 5.6 skeletal mesh, since I'm working with this Unreal version. In the next page, I leave all as it is. You can play with different settings. As you can see, this 1 minute video costs 64 V coins. Click on Generate Now to get the animation. It takes a few minutes. And here's the result. Quick and simple, that's movie exactly like me. I recorded a video in my dance studio with a simple smartphone, and all these for less than a coffee. Well, I don't know how much a coffee costs in your country, but here in Italy you can get a coffee at a bar for €/dollar more or less. Once finished, just download the FBX and import it into the project. The result is not that bad. Obviously, retarget the animation to the MetaHuman skeletal mesh. Let's go back to the level sequencer. To keep things neat, I create an animation sequence with the animation we have already modified. Then delete the control rig track and the animations. And add the new animation. Go to frame 0. I have a copy of main MetaHuman to copy some control rig keyframes. Here it is. You just have to add the QuickMagic animation to it. Now we have to try to match the locomotion animation to the arms animation, moving the second one at the right frame. In this case, I was very lucky. The two animations match perfectly, as you can tell by listening the voice.
Stop like that! Fantastic! Now with QuickMagic I can catch this rock and throw it away.
So, go to the frame 0 and add a control rig track for the second and for the main MetaHuman. And copy all the arms, hands and fingers keyframes. After that, paste them in the right control rig keys of the main MetaHuman. Check it out. Cool. Now it's time for the clavicles keyframes. Copy and paste. Now we just have to change the animation of the character picking up the stone. To do this, we need to add two markers in the correct position to isolate the keyframes we need. And then we need to copy the body keyframes from the QuickMagic animation and paste them into the correct control rig keys of the main MetaHuman. Delete some keyframes before and after the pasted keys to smooth out the body control transition. Like this. And finally, you can adjust the body control in the edited track. To the head movement, I used the classical method. I add the facial animation as body animation on the second metahuman. And then I copy the head and next location and rotation and pass them in the main metahuman head and next controls. We'll explore these techniques in more detail in the next episode of the series, where we'll see which of the various techniques to create metahuman facial animation is best, in my opinion, of course. Reviewing the animation, I noticed that during the sprint the arms move in a clumsy way, so I decided to restore the arm movement from Motorica's animation. Just here, I added an animation to the second metahuman and using the same method as before. Pasted the keyframes from the upper arms, lower arms and clavicles into the main control rig of the first metahuman. Obviously only during the sprints. And also here delete some keyframes before and after the pasted keys to smooth out the transition. And finally, adjust all in the control rig additive track. Alright guys, that's all for now. Hi Lara.
Hey boss!
And so, what's in the next episode of the series?
Well, in the next episode, our friends will learn what is the best way to create facial animations for metahumans. And most importantly, how to use 11 Lab, an artificial intelligence application, to make our metahumans speak all the languages of the world, creating incredible dubs.
Hey guys, but where are you? Hi Giovanni! We are on the set of the next historical immersive docufiction. It's about Akhenaten and his wife Nefertiti. Wow! There will be the classical version and also a 316 degrees panoramic version. Sounds good! So, good luck guys! Bye Giovanni!
Bye Giovanni!
Goodbye! Well my friends, for the rest enjoy life always, as always, and of course, Chap.